Hello everybody and welcome back to another My Porch Prints tutorials. This is Kyra and I'm going to be showing you today how to assemble this no-sew journal kit. As always, links to the kit and any other materials will be linked in the description box down below. And for today's journal, we are doing the Shabby Rose no-sew journal, but this tutorial should be able to work for any of our no-sew journals. They should all assemble the same way, even if they look a little bit different. So in today's video, I'm going to show you kind of how to assemble the base of the journal, and then I'll also kind of go into detail and show you some ideas for how to decorate the journal. Of course, you can do whatever you want with your journal. This is just to give you some inspiration and some ideas for how you might go about decorating. And today's video also comes with a freebie, which will be available to everyone through our Facebook group. You can just find the link for that down in the description box below as well. Sign up to join our Facebook group if you haven't already, and all of the freebies we've ever released are available there for anyone who joins. So make sure to go ahead and do that if you haven't already. But without much further ado, we should be able to just jump right into today's tutorial. So to get started, make sure that you have the kit printed out. I printed mine on cardstock, just regular plain white cardstock, and I cut everything out already just to have it pre-assembled for today's video. And as you can see here, nothing is printed on the back for today. If you wanted to, you could print on the back of some of the ephemera. It's not necessary on the pages because of how this is going to assemble, but if that's something you want to do, you can. All right, so now that we have everything printed out, we're going to start by assembling our signature by folding our pages in half just like this. We want the images folded to the inside so that the white is showing on the outside, and we're just going to crease it right in the center like this. And feel free to use a bone folder or a ruler to get a really nice crease if you want. And we're just going to go ahead and do that with every single page that we have printed. So fold everything in half with the image to the inside just like this. And when that's done, we can begin assembling the actual signature. Okay, now that everything is folded, I'm just going to flip through real fast and make sure that all of my images are right side up. You'll know if yours are right side up because the image pages will be on the left and the blank and lined papers will be on the right. So just make sure that all of your pages are right side up. And then to assemble, we're going to be gluing our pages back to back like this. So start with 2 folded pages like this, and then go ahead and grab some glue. I'm going to be using Fabri-Tac glue because it's non-water based and won't wrinkle my papers, which is really handy because we need to make sure that we're keeping things really straight with these pages. So when adding the glue, try to get it as close to the edge as you can, but don't make it too thick because we don't want it to ooze out and cause our pages to stick together like closed where we don't want the glue. And then we're going to glue down both of our pages to one another like this, just kind of sandwiching them together, trying to get things aligned as best we can. It's most important to get the spine aligned. It's okay if the sort of open edge of the page is a little bit crooked because we can always trim that off, but we can't trim off the spine. So make sure to get the spine as even as possible. You don't want one sticking too far out than the other or too high up. Just try to get everything aligned. All right, and when that is done, your pages should flip like this. And you can see that there is a little bit of white showing here because my pages aren't perfectly folded. And I can, again, trim that off or use some distress ink to hide that. All right, so now we're just going to continue this process. So folding it closed, I'm going to grab another page here and I'm going to glue these 2 white areas together back to back. And then that's going to cause it to flip. So just again, continuing that process, adding more glue and adding more pages one after the other until we have a completed signature. All right, and once all of our pages are glued together, we should have something like this, a full completed signature. You can see we've got all of our pages, trying to keep them even at the spine. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to try to keep it pretty close. And then this book comes with 2 covers. You can kind of decide which one you want to be the front and which one you want to be the back. And there's also a label that comes with this kit, and this one's meant to be a cover label, but you can use it anywhere. I'm gonna go ahead and use it as intended on my cover, and I think I'll go with this one for the front. And then when it comes to putting the spine and the covers on, something you may want to think about beforehand is if you want a tie closure. And all that means is wrapping around some string. You can use one piece or multiple pieces. And we're just going to wrap it around the journal entirely like this. And we want it to kind of wrap around the spine and then tie closed near the opening of the signature, like where all the pages open. And you can go ahead and just tie it in a little knot here like this. And then you can go ahead and glue on your covers and your spine on top of it, and that will hold all of these in place so that when it comes to actually closing your journal, you'll just have the ties kind of built into it. Now, I didn't use this for my journal today because of how I'm decorating it with my little freebie here. The way it's gonna sort of tuck into the cover means that I can't do this type of tie closure, but if you're not gonna use the freebie that way and you want a tie closure, you can do it that way. I just wanted to show you so that you have options. All right, how I am going to do it is I'm going to start by putting on my spine first. So the spine has a label for where the top goes, and then instead of folding along like the edges of the tabs on the spine, I'm actually just going to kind of form it over the spine, just kind of curving it and bending it over the spine, just because, you know, everyone's paper weight is going to be different and the thickness of their glue might be different. So this just makes sure that the spine will fit no matter the size of your spine. And then once I have it kind of in a curved shape, I'm going to add some glue to the tabs here. Don't get any glue in the center, otherwise your signature is going to glue shut because the glue will ooze through the pages of our signature, like on the spine, and we really don't want that. So keep it only on the tabs, and then we're just going to sort of form it again over our spine of our signature like this. And you can either hold it in place or use clips, which is what I'm going to do, just to hold it down until it dries. We want to make sure that it doesn't move around too much once it's centered, and just give it time to dry. All right, and while that is drying, we can go ahead and do a little bit of decorating on our covers. So I'm going to be using a little bit of distress ink here around my label and just glue it down to some cheesecloth and kind of just give it a rough cut to add some texture to my cover. Again, if you don't have cheesecloth, that's perfectly fine. This is just kind of an idea. If you're looking for some materials you might try, you could use ribbon or something like that, or puff tape to give it some dimension. There's options. And then I'm taking some ribbon with a little bit of distress ink to age it, and I'm just going to glue it along the side of the cover near the spine. And then I'm also adding some hardware corners. Again, we have these linked down below in our Amazon affiliate shop if you are interested, but we also have these same corners in a faux hardware in our shop. So you just print them out on cardstock, cut them out and glue them down on the corner, and they look pretty much the same for a lot less money. If you do get the actual hardware, they have to be hammered down into place so that they kind of close around the corner of our covers. So just keep that in mind. And I will link the faux hardware down below for anyone interested in it. Again, it's not necessary, it's just an extra step you can take if you want to decorate your covers. And then I'm going to glue down that label we made to my front cover just like this. And then I decided to add a little charm. So I have some of these little rings and closures from this brand called Mr. Pen. I think we got it on Amazon. And then I also have this little bird and star charm. And I just kind of used some pliers to create this little hanging dangle charm for my cover. And using a micro hole punch and another one of those rings, I'm just going to create a place to clip this onto like this. A nice and simple little dangle for my cover. And now we're going to move on to the freebie that comes with today's video. This is a little tab card that we're giving away for free. It's designed to match this kit specifically, but you could use it for anything if you want to. And I'm going to go ahead and print mine on cardstock, and I went ahead and cut it out and folded it in half just like this. And if you want to, you could glue this so that you can leave one side open for tucking more ephemera into, so kind of creating a layer in a layer in a layer sort of situation here. That's kind of just up to you. I'm gonna go ahead and just glue mine completely closed today. And it does come with a tab that I'm going to add onto the side. You could add it onto the top potentially, depending on how you want this to tuck into your cover. I'm going to have mine tuck into the side, so that's where I'm gonna kind of add my pull tab here. So just folding it in half, adding glue to the inside, and then gluing it to the edge. And then I am using a corner rounding punch and some distress ink just to help it fit a little bit better. If you don't have a punch, you can just use scissors or not round it at all. That's entirely up to you. And for this to work, I'm going to be adding glue to the top and bottom of my cover panel, as well as to the side that is going to be near the spine. So I'm trying to keep the glue as close to the edge as possible here to make sure I have plenty of room for my card to fit underneath my cover, just like this. And then I'm going to glue this down onto the front of my signature, just like this. Try to line everything up, make it fit nicely. And if you have any of the edges sort of sticking out a little bit, you can go over that with some distress ink, and you could even maybe trim it off if you don't have the hardware corners. Since I do, I can't really trim mine, so I'm just going to use my distress ink to kind of blend those edges a little bit better. And then I can tuck my freebie right underneath the cover like this. And now I have a little pull tab card right underneath my cover. And you could also print it off again and use it on the back cover, or just use it on the back cover if you don't like it on the front. It's kind of up to you. I'm gonna just leave my back cover glued on normally. And now we kind of have a completed journal here, just the base all finished and a little bit of decorating on the cover. And if you still want a tie-in method that doesn't go under the cover, you can just wrap string or twine around the outside and tie it in a bow, and that works perfectly fine as well. All right, so that is the end of the sort of main base tutorial. Now I'm gonna jump into the decorating, and this kit comes with a whole bunch of pockets and ephemera and fussy cuts and labels, lots of pieces to choose from. You don't have to use these, you don't have to use all of them. I'm gonna end up using quite a bit of them today for my decorating, but feel free to kind of pick and choose whatever you like. However you want to use them is fine. I'm just giving you some ideas and inspiration. So I'm going to start right inside of my front cover. You may find that your book is a little stiff when you're first opening it. That will kind of smooth out the more you flip through the pages, so don't worry about that. And I'm going to start with a pocket here, just going ahead and gluing this in. I'm going to use a little bit of distress ink to help the edges pop. And if you've never used one of our pockets before, you just add glue right along the side and bottom like this, kind of in an L shape, leaving the slanted edge open, and that is going to be where we tuck our ephemera into. And I'm going to decorate my pocket a little bit with one of the labels that come with the kit, as well as a little piece of fabric trim. And I also have some masking tape I'm going to just roughly tear a piece from and go over the edges with a little bit of distress ink to make it look a little bit messier. And I'm just going to stick that down right in the center of my pocket and kind of layer my label and my little fabric piece on top of it using glue. And then I'm just filling my pocket full of any ephemera I think look nice. I'm usually starting with taller in the back and shorter and smaller in the front, and going over some pieces with distress ink if I think they need a little bit of contrast to help them stand out. And these projects are really good for getting rid of little scrap pieces of fabric you might have. You can just glue them down in a cluster in the corner with a little fussy cut, and you've got this just cute textured little detail that looks really nice. Next, I'm taking one of the vertical pockets, same idea, adding glue to the top, bottom, and one side, leaving one side open to tuck ephemera into, just like this. And I'm going to take another piece of trim that I went over with a little bit of distress ink to age it, and I'm just going to glue it right on the edge here and then tuck in my ephemera. And with this, you want to make sure that you have enough ephemera that it's not falling out. Sometimes with the vertical pockets, if they're not tight enough, you'll need to use a few more pieces of ephemera. And if you find that you're running out of ephemera, don't be afraid to print more off. You can print these off as many times as you want, giving you pretty much infinite ephemera to use. And you can see here I'm just using a paper clip to paper clip down a few ephemera pieces as well as some fabric scraps. And this is a really easy way to decorate a journal, especially if you want to save writing space, because you can just slide the ephemera out, write down any thoughts you might have, and then put them back into place. And it keeps the journal looking decorative, but also saves you room for writing. Alright, so now I'm using one of those ephemera pockets. These pieces could be used as ephemera or they could be used as pockets. I'm going to go ahead and use mine as a pocket right now, this little like postcard pocket. And I'm going to add a tag that I'm just adding a little bit of ribbon to make a bow. And you can, embellish your ephemera as much as you want by gluing, fabric down to it or adding bows, ribbons, buttons. You can tear pieces and re-glue them together. You can add charms. There's lots you can do if you want to. It's really as complex or simple as you want. And here I'm just trimming up my bow a little bit to make it look nice. I'll actually use these scraps in just a second here. I'm taking this sort of vertical ephemera piece, rounding off the corners and adding a little bit of glue to the top, bottom, and one side here. And then I'm using those scrap pieces of ribbon I just cut to kind of just add like a little sort of wraparound detail to it. And I'm going to slide one of my ephemera pocket pieces. This one I'm using as an ephemera piece instead of a pocket. I'm just going to tuck that in there. Again, going in with some paper clips to paper clip down ephemera. And I'm adding these bows that we bought on Amazon. Again, link will be down in the description box, just to kind of decorate the paper clip a little bit more, make it feel a little bit more cohesive and cute and detailed. So I'm just going to kind of keep going with my decorating here, tucking some pieces in, using distress ink to make some contrast, adding some tape behind my labels just to make a little bit of a border here, just give it that, scrappy, junky sort of feel. And I am taking one of my ribbon scraps here, and I'm just going to kind of cut it to fit at an angle in the corner of this page. It doesn't do a ton of decorating, but it adds just a little something something to a page that I want to leave mostly blank. Just a nice little detail there. And this kit does come with several labels that you can use on pockets or on top of pages or on top of ephemera pieces. It's kind of up to you. And as I decorate, I like to be a little bit mindful of colors. So if there's green on one page, I try to grab ephemera with some green on the other, just kind of keeping things feeling coordinated. A lot of our kits already feel very coordinated, but it's something I like to just be mindful of. And here I'm adding glue to a circular piece of ephemera just on one half of it, specifically the bottom half. And I'm going to glue it down in kind of this blank looking space with a little bit of like a label and adding some little ephemera pieces into it. And that's just kind of a cute way to create another interesting pocket. And then just kind of flipping through and finding spaces I feel like could use something. This page I thought would look nice with a little tab, so I'm going to just go ahead and glue it down near the bottom like this. You don't have to use all of the tabs that come with this kit. I'll only be using, I think, 3 of them, but you could also use them on ephemera pieces to make them look a little bit more finished or detailed if you want. You can put them on the tops of your pages or on the sides. It's kind of up to you. And here I'm going to use some ephemera to make an ephemera stack. So I'm adding glue just to one side of this piece here, gluing it down right in the center, and then taking another piece here, I'm going to make an L shape with my glue. And I did glue a little bit of ribbon to the top of this, again, just adding texture. And I'm going to glue it down slightly to the left of my first one here like this. And now I can tuck ephemera down behind these two pieces, so it's just kind of a little layered tuck space, kind of cute and fun. And I'll finish it off with a fussy cut and a label right down here in the corner. And while I'm showing you some creative ways to use ephemera like this, it doesn't have to be that complex. You really can just glue your pockets down and fill them with ephemera as is, and it still looks really pretty and beautiful. So don't worry if you don't have these materials, or you don't want to make things too complex or take too much time. It's fine. You can do really simple things. For example, these vertical pockets, you can just glue them in as is, or for this little pocket here, I'm going to make kind of a layered pocket. So I'm tearing off one edge of these two vertical pieces and then going over them with some distress ink just to make those edges pop a little bit. And I'm gonna add glue again, same as before, top, bottom, and the straight edge here. And I'm gonna glue this first piece kind of towards the middle of the page, just like this. And then again with my second piece, taking the glue over the top, the bottom, and the side that's not torn, I'm going to glue it closer in towards the spine, and this is going to create kind of a multi-layered pocket sort of situation here. And again, you don't have to use the pieces this way, but I think it just adds some nice layering and texture, and I really like the way the edges look nice and distressed here. So I'm going to add just a simple fussy cut flower to the center here, just keeping the glue on the far left. We don't want to accidentally glue our pocket shut. And then just filling it with all sorts of ephemera in both pockets here. And the last thing I'm going to do today is I'm going to add a couple pieces of the masking tape to this page here, adding some distress ink to it. And then I'm going to use my last vertical pocket here to actually make a belly band. So I'm only adding glue to the top and the bottom here, just like this. And I'm going to glue it on top of my tape, which just adds a little bit of pretty layered framing. And you can tuck ephemera into it just like this, so just a little bit different. Alright, so that is all of the decorating for this video. I'm just going to finish up by adding a couple of my page tabs that I have left, just keeping everything pretty simple. I added one kind of to the top with my freebie already, so I put one in the middle and one at the bottom, and I think that's all I'm going to do for this. So to finish it off, I'm just adding my tie, and there we go. That is the completed Shabby Rose No Sew Junk Journal. And this is a nice, smaller, sort of convenient size. You could make several of these if you wanted to and decorate them all just a little bit differently and kind of have like a series of journals to keep if you want. Or this could be a pretty way to make a gift with ephemera for a friend. If you know someone who likes paper crafting and junk journaling, I think this would be a really sweet way to tell them that you appreciate them and just give them something fun to look forward to. So I'm just doing a little flip through here to kind of show you how it all turned out in the end. You can see there's lots of places to tuck ephemera. Even into a journal this small, you can really fill it up and make it feel complete and full with just the pieces provided in this kit alone. And it's just kind of a really nice way to spend an easy afternoon. So if you do happen to make this journal or any of our no-sew journals, we would love to see what you come up with and how you decorated them. We do have a Facebook group, again, that I mentioned earlier, where you can get the freebie. So if you join, feel free to share pictures of any of your paper crafting projects you're working on, or, you know, any ideas and inspiration. We love to see what you guys are coming up with. So don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos, but otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye!